Good morning, Canada. Janet Roberts here. Today we are here with George Stanley, designer of our Canadian flag.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to be here.
Tell us, George, whose idea was it to give Canada their own national flag?
Well, Janet, Prime Minister King attempted to give Canada its own national flag in 1925 and 1945 but was not successful either time. Then, in early 1964, Prime Minister Pearson proposed that Canada was going to have its own flag.
George, why don't you tell us about the Great Flag Debate?
The Great Canadian Flag debate was happening in 1963 and 1964 during the search for a new Canadian flag. It began when Prime Minister Pearson announced Canada was going to have its own flag, and I would say it lasted about 6 months, if not more. Canadians were divided as they debated over the new flag of Canada. The Great Flag Debate ended on December 15th when our current flag was chosen.
Why don't you take us through the process of gaining our own flag?
After Pearson announced Canada was going to have its own flag, many designs were then sent to the House of Commons by Canadians where they were discussed by the committee. They chose my design on December 15th, 1964, and the flag was adopted by Parliament on October 22nd. The Queen approved of the flag on January 28th of 1965, and it was first flown on February 15th on Parliament Hill.
Well, that seems like one long and interesting process. It must have felt very rewarding to have your design chosen.
Yes, Janet, it certainly was.
Can you describe the potential flags of Canada that were being discussed during the Great Flag Debate?
Well, Janet, it came down to 4 designs that could potentially be our new Canadian flag. Some people wanted to keep the red ensign, which is Canada's unofficial flag before our current flag, and others wanted a completely new design. The Pearson pennant was another option, consisting of 3 maple leaves and 2 blue bars on either side. Another design was a single maple leaf with the Union Jack and the fleur-de-lis in the corners. The last design was our current flag today. One thing all these flags had in common was the maple leaf.
What is the meaning behind the design of the flag?
The maple leaf has been the symbol of our country for many years. It is our emblem. The maple leaf gained more significance after World War II because Canadian soldiers wore maple leaf badges on their uniforms during the war. It is also unique, distinctive, and it stands out. The red bars on each side of the maple leaf represent the ocean surrounding Canada on left and right. The Atlantic Ocean, the east coast, is represented by the bar on the right, and the Pacific Ocean, the west coast, is represented by the bar on the left.
That's something I never knew before. Today's really teaching me about our flag. One more question for you, George. Why do you think our flag is so important?
Great question. You see, the Canadian flag is a symbol of Canada's national unity and independence. It showed our separation from Britain. The flag also represents all of us Canadians and gives us a sense of identity.
Wow, I'm proud to be Canadian. Our flag's history is quite interesting. Thank you for teaching me a bit about our flag.
Anytime, Janet. I'm glad I was able to share.
That's all we have for today, folks. Thank you, George, for your time and dedication.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.